Hi there, and thanks for joining me again for NCIA's weekly episodes of NCIA Today. I'm your host, Bethany Moore, NCIA's Deputy Director of Communications, checking in with you every week on Fridays with updates on what's happening in the industry and here at NCIA. First, a quick reminder again to help our efforts to pass the Safe Banking Act through the U.S. Senate by looking up your senator's phone numbers and giving them a call to either thank them for their support or to tell them why they should add their names to the list of co-sponsors. Also, check out all the benefits for our newest top tier membership level called Evergreen for policy-focused cannabis companies. Head to thecannabisindustry.org/join to learn more about our new membership packages, Evergreen, Blooming, and Seedling. And of course, NCIA is currently accepting applications for speakers at all three of our trade shows happening later this year. You can submit your proposals from now through May 24th at thecannabisindustry.org/speaker application 2021. The deadline is still May 24th. Next, before I highlight some of the new content on our website, we'll be checking in with NCIA's Deputy Director of Public Policy, Rachel Kurtz-McElwain, about an important new issue impacting the cannabis industry. NCIA members have been making us aware of text messaging, SMS, service interruptions, or complete shutdowns, either for marketing or order fulfillment. Let's hear more. Hey, Rachel, how's it going?
Great. Good to see you again, Bethany.
Yeah, you too, Rachel. Thanks for taking a few minutes to chat with me this week. You published an article on our blog earlier this week about some text messaging service interruptions that some NCIA members are experiencing. This seems a bit alarming. Can you tell us more about what's going on?
Yeah, we're still in the information gathering stage. We know that with the new 10 DLC regulations coming out in the telecommunications industry, it's really aimed at cutting down on spam text messages, but it's having a really broad reach, and even beyond really cannabis industry. There's a lot of like political organizations that are not able to text out their action alerts and stuff like that. But as far as the cannabis industry, there's been some major carriers who have told the different cannabis businesses that they had to shut down using them altogether. And for a couple of weeks last month, they were shut down. A lot of companies have found workarounds, but it's not ideal, and we don't know how long those workarounds will last either. So basically, they said that because cannabis is still Schedule 1 and it's illegal federally, that any of these, legal licensed cannabis businesses are basically, using text messages to commit their federal crimes. And that, so really, when we think about how the cannabis industry uses text messages, it's for marketing, loyalty programs, and the big one is delivery and online ordering, so that people, sort of like when you order from, a food place like Grubhub, you get notifications on your text messages about kind of the status of it, and then when they're there, for you to meet them, and then afterwards, maybe a thank you and rate us. So now, they're having to, if they put a marketing email out, it's pretty generic. You may have noticed a difference in what it looks like. And then also the delivery companies are just, I know one of them has like 5 templates they use, and the drivers can only use those, and it doesn't mention any kind of, anything about cannabis, strain names, any businesses names. So you can't say, oh, I'm here with, this delivery company. You just are like, I'm here. and then you can't even have like a link in there to a cannabis business. So that's kind of where people are at. Although, that's, I only know what I'm kind of hearing. We've had a lot of had a lot of meetings with different companies who um, are kind of letting us know how things are going. And it seems like the cannabis industry is so used to being cracked down, crackdowns like this, that I feel like we're not even really hearing that much about it, because they're like, oh, now we have text messaging issues. Well, we'll just work around that and pretend like we're not doing what we're doing or whatever, but really it's, I've been working with some legal expertise in this, in telecommunications, and they think that, it's not legal what they're doing, that they're, targeting this legal industry for, words in a text message. So, I think if companies are experiencing this issue, I'd really like to hear from them. Even if they found workarounds, I want to hear how they're doing it, because, maybe those workarounds won't last forever. So it would be nice if we could. I'm sure it's been a big, even if they've managed to get around it, it still has to be a huge pain to deal with. So it would be great if we could kind of tackle it, but we need to kind of hear from more people how it's going, and if anyone really wants to kind of step up and be, maybe put their name out there as a plaintiff or something in potential litigation.
Yeah. So this is everything from delivery text updates to notifications about my favorite gummy being buy one, get one $1 on sale this week. I always love those. And we spoke with Eric. Yeah, we spoke with Eric Troutman like a month ago from the Telecommunications Consumer Protection Act group. And he explained some of what was starting to happen. And it seems like just in the last month or so, this has blown up a little bit for cannabis industry operators. So in addition to reaching out to you, so we'll get your email address for listeners who would like to share their story about how they've been impacted by text messaging, marketing crackdowns. Is there anything else NCIA members should be thinking about to push back on this?
Well, another reason why it affects the cannabis industry, that much more than other industries, is that we really rely on text messages for advertising, because we also face such, discrimination, I think, when it comes to advertising out there. So like, yeah, if there's a 420 special, you're not going to see a commercial for it. It's hard to see advertising there. It's really limited. And so, they really rely on text messages more than other industries. And so it's not fair. I mean, even if you think that, oh, I'm fine, I'm dealing with it, you shouldn't necessarily have to deal with it and have it take more time and money for you. And also, I'm just kind of hearing if there might be more crackdowns in social media, although that's something we've also kind of been dealing with over the years. But if it's happening more frequently now, I'd like to also hear about that. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, I would say that just working with, there's some great delivery and marketing platforms out there in the cannabis industry that are aware of this issue, and they know how to deal with it, at least, for now. So if you have been shut down, definitely there are companies out there that, including our members, check our member directory to find another provider in the meantime.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for keeping on top of this issue. And I encourage NCI members who are listening, who are experiencing or have recently experienced this text messaging crackdown for their businesses, to reach out to my colleague, Rachel. Her email address is rachel@thecannabisindustry.org.
RACHEL.
Perfect. We'll put that on the screen also. Thanks again, Rachel, for staying on top of those issues, and we'll check in with you when there's more news.
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
You got it.
All right, let's take a quick look at some of this week's content on NCIA's Industry Insights blog in case you missed it.
NCIA's Cannabis Manufacturing Committee continues their blog series on future-proofing cannabis manufacturing processes. As the manufacturing branch of the cannabis industry paves its way into the future, the processes involved need to be made environmentally sustainable, and best practices need to be shared and standardized to ensure product safety and industry longevity. Collecting and sharing data from manufacturing facilities is the ideal way to achieve these sector goals. Learn more in part 2 of their latest blog. Next, NCIA's State Regulations Committee offers a sustainable and scalable approach to rethinking track and trace models. The committee's Technology and Compliance Subcommittee has spoken to regulators, operators, and international technology providers in the interest of presenting a practical track and trace solution to benefit the industry as a whole. This is the first blog in a series that will highlight the issues that cannabis operators and regulators are facing because of the current centralized, state-mandated track and trace model. Check it out. Also, the NCIA team and the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee has recently announced the launch of a new podcast, NCIA's Cannabis Minority Report. Check out the episodes on NCIA's website with host Khadijah Adams. You can also catch it live on NCIA's Facebook page every Monday morning at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. All right, let's wrap up this week's show with some reminders. Remember to start getting ready for our Midwest Cannabis Business Conference, now September 22nd and 23rd in Detroit, Michigan, and our Eastern Cannabis Business Conference in Baltimore, Maryland, December 7th through 8th, plus our 7th Annual Cannabis Business Summit and Expo, December 15th through 17th in San Francisco. Reach out now to learn more about opportunities to secure your booth on the expo floor. And if you're interested in speaking, submit your proposal by May 24th. All right, got the NCIA mobile app on your phone yet? Download it to your phone now, Google Play, and the App Store. As always, subscribe to our weekly email newsletter and our weekly podcast, NCIA's Cannabis Industry Voice, and NCIA's Cannabis Minority Report in the meantime, as our team in DC is staying on top of cannabis policy reform efforts in Congress, and NCIA's weekly webinar series keeps you connected with the industry and up to date on best practices and regulatory issues. Now's a great time to make sure you're following our social media channels on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram to check out all the great content and inspiration we're sharing. If you're a member of NCIA, log into NCIA Connect and spark up a conversation with your fellow NCIA members and colleagues today. We'll see you next week.
So we're very proud to be NCIA members. We've been members for the last 3 years, and I gotta say, every event, every conference, every get together that's sponsored by NCIA is a good opportunity, not just to meet others in the industry, obviously, but really to talk about the industry as a whole, where it's going, where it's been, our challenges to date.
We feel really grateful to NCIA for including us in the educational tracks the last 3 years. We've been at every seed to sale and most of the shows on the West Coast.
Every time we're here, I always have a sense that it's not just another one of these industry conferences, that it's actually that it is the industry's lobbying arm, and that it's an organization that is protecting all of us and fighting for the legal future that we all need.
At the end of the day, the most important and impactful thing for us is the community. It's really about the people that NCIA brings together, and the events like this one that NCIA organizes for for us to gather.
If you're in this industry, NCIA is trying to influence it positively for you. If you're not speaking up, if you're not participating in committees, you're missing out on a huge window. Everyone wants change. Well, this is one of the ways you do it.
You don't have to be a member of the NCIA. You could just do nothing and let them do everything for you and fix all the problems that need to be fixed for the industry to work properly, and you could just sit on the sidelines. That would be fine, but it'd be better if you were a member.